Okay, picture this. You're sitting comfortably in your airplane seat, just glancing at that little TV screen right in front of you. But instead of a movie or a sitcom, you're watching live news footage of the actual plane you're sitting inside. And the news anchors? They're analyzing your impending emergency landing. It's a hushed, incredibly urgent, and frankly, absolutely terrifying reality that the passengers of JetBlue Flight 292 actually faced.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are diving right into this gripping, miraculous aviation survival story. We're going to break down exactly what happened, the terrifying mechanical failure that caused it, and the unbelievable sequence of events that unfolded live on national television.
Now, we are facing technical difficulties. Those words sound pretty calm, right? Well, compared to the sheer panic they actually induced, they definitely were. Just 15 minutes into the flight, this really alarming announcement from Captain Scott Burke echoed through the cabin. Passengers were already kind of noticing the plane wasn't climbing properly, and suddenly, rumors spread like wildfire. Did an engine fail? Did we lose power? The truth, as they'd soon find out, was actually way more severe.
Section 1. Routine takeoff gone wrong. Burbank, California. Let's hit rewind and look at the completely calm, totally procedural beginnings of this fateful day on September 21st, 2005.
Everything started off so utterly normal. 140 passengers boarded the flight bound for New York. At exactly 3 p.m., the control tower gave the green signal. Scheduled departure was set, and at 3:17 p.m., the plane lifted off from Burbank Airport. It was a textbook departure. Neither the pilot, the crew, nor the passengers had any clue they were about to live through an absolute nightmare. Which brings us to Section 2, diagnosing the danger, the 90-degree problem. So about half an hour had passed since takeoff, and the plane was still circling low over California. The pilot kept getting these mysterious, continuous warning signals from the landing gear system.
Captain Scott didn't want to gain any more altitude without knowing exactly what was wrong. He needed a visual. So really smartly, he diverted the aircraft toward Long Beach Airport and dropped his altitude even lower. Down on the ground, the control tower crew jumped into action. They zoomed their powerful cameras right onto the underbelly of the passing plane to finally diagnose this terrifying mechanical failure.
And what they saw was horrifying. The front nose wheel was rotated 90 degrees to the left. It was literally jammed sideways. Now, trying to land in this state, it prevents normal tire rotation and essentially turns that wheel into a giant solid brake. It guarantees severe, high-speed friction and a highly probable fire the second it touches the runway.
But here is where the psychological horror really kicks in. The Long Beach Tower relayed the bad news to the captain and then dropped another bombshell. Local news helicopters had actually caught footage of the twisted gear. It was now broadcasting live across American news networks. So those 140 passengers trapped up in the sky were watching the catastrophic state of their own landing gear live on their seatback TVs. I mean, can you even imagine?
Section 3. The fuel problem. A ticking time bomb. Now you might be wondering, why not just crash land immediately and get it over with? Well, there was a massive, highly explosive complication holding them in the sky. 14,000 kilograms. That is the staggering amount of highly flammable jet fuel sitting right inside the aircraft's tanks at that very moment.
To put that crazy number into perspective for you, the weight of that jet fuel was equal to 12 average family cars. It's a massive payload. If the captain tried to land with the gear twisted like that, the inevitable friction fire could easily reach the fuel. Literally, a single spark catching that payload could obliterate the entire aircraft.
Captain Scott knew he had to get rid of this explosive weight before even thinking about touching down. So he devised an incredibly smart survival strategy. Step 1. Divert the plane out over the ocean. Step 2. Fly in circles for 3 exhausting hours just to burn off that dangerous fuel. And Step 3. Once the fuel is down to just 30 minutes of reserve, make a highly targeted emergency landing at LAX. Section 4. Touching down, the brace position. The plane, which is now significantly lighter, enters LAX radar. The airport is on total lockdown. Fire trucks and ambulances are lining the runway, just waiting for whatever is about to happen. Up in the cabin, Captain Scott actually shuts off the live TV feeds so passengers aren't watching their own emergency anymore, and commands everyone to get into the crash or brace position to save themselves.
The runway rushes up to meet them. And with incredible, just masterful maneuvering, Captain Scott forces the rear landing gears down first.
He essentially balances this massive aircraft on its back wheels for as long as physically possible, desperately bleeding off precious speed before that broken front end has to drop.
But you know, gravity always wins in the end. As the plane decelerates, the nose dips. Everyone holds their breath as the front gear, completely sideways, finally slams into the concrete of the Los Angeles runway.
Sparks, friction, fire. It's exactly what they feared. The friction is so intensely severe that a terrifying fire erupts right around the nose wheel. The heat is so extreme, the passengers inside the cabin can literally feel it radiating through the floorboards beneath their feet. The front wheel is grinding down until it is literally halved by the concrete. But then, the speed drops, the screeching fades, and everything just goes quiet as the plane finally, mercifully, halts. A massive sigh of relief sweeps across the crew, the passengers, and honestly, the entire country watching live.
Section 5. Investigation and Aftermath. What went wrong? They made it, and the passengers were safely evacuated. But we have to ask, right? How does a modern aircraft end up in such a precarious, terrifying situation in the very first place?
Well, investigators discovered that a tiny lock in the front landing gear, the mechanism designed to keep the wheel straight, was completely broken. So the moment the plane took off from Burbank, that broken lock allowed the heavy wheel assembly to just freely spin 90 degrees and get stuck sideways. It was a tiny mechanical failure with massive catastrophic implications. But the absolute most important takeaway here, 0 injuries. And that is 100% due to the extraordinary skill and clear-headed decision-making of the pilot.
So I'll leave you with this question. What's more powerful, this sudden failure of a single mechanical lock, or the human grace under pressure required to overcome it? The story of JetBlue Flight 292 is a really chilling reminder of how quickly technology can fail us, but it's an even bigger testament to the resilience, the training, and the incredible spirit of the humans at the controls. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the